Welcome to Let's Talk, and today I'm going to talk about a little maintenance and cleaning. Sometimes when you use a spray paint, it'll come off chalky when it dries, and that can mean any number of things, from the paint being old or just poor weather conditions for drying, or maybe your model wasn't completely clean and it was just dusty, and so the dust has beaded up the paint. So how to get rid of that without completely ruining the rest of your priming? The best way to do it is get a stippling brush. So I like to use the Army Painter stippling brush. It doesn't really matter what brand, cheap is better, but basically anything with really stiff bristles. If you wanted, you can go get a toothbrush with really stiff bristles, but I find that toothbrushes don't really get the proper amount of stiffness just because they're made for teeth, and teeth are soft. So anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to take the stippling brush, you get the light in here, and so you can see down here there's lots of chalky buildup all over the legs, and particularly on the underside. So what it looks like, since the top is pretty smooth, it was probably my black primer that was old or whatever it was. So what you're going to do is basically just scrub it like a scrub brush, and you can see I'm losing a lot of color here on the leg. It's really turning gray, and that just means that the base primer wasn't very good, and so everything above it is flaking off. And the reason we want to do this before we go in and spend all the effort painting by hand is that exact reason, is that over time, even if you were to put a sealer over this, that chalkiness and everything would flake off and you would completely ruin your paint job. So we're just going to go in now and get rid of as much of it as we can, and then we can go back and touch up the color with paint. But what I'm probably going to do, since it's on the underside of the model mostly, is I'm just going to leave it that grayness, give it some extra shadowing for free, and save myself a little effort in the long run. Back side of it doesn't look too bad. So what that tells me is that it wasn't my black primer. It was probably the white primer, because I only spray that from the front, and it looks like only the front really has that chalkiness. So there, now you can see the model, particularly on the legs, it's kind of grayed up a lot, especially from this angle. But at least it's clean now, so when I go back and paint over it, or I could even go back and reprime this if I wanted, and I wouldn't have that buildup of chalkiness that just ruins paint and ruins a paint job. And that way I don't have to take a ton of effort to clean it up. Other ways of doing this, if you ever feel like it's not doing a good enough job, is pine sol. Soak the models in pure pine sol. They will smell like pine sol forever, but it will get rid of that chalkiness. I'd say soak them for an hour or two, and then just take a toothbrush to it and some warm water. Probably wear gloves, just because pine sol in its concentrated form is very hard on your hands, and you don't want to get all flaky and gross. So that is how to fix a total flub up if you end up priming with old primer. Have a good one.